Hello everybody, welcome back to the Crizzy YouTube channel. My last few videos, and actually the script for the video I was going to record today, have been leaning pretty negative. And I feel like I don't have as much fun recording something where I'm bashing an artist as I do when I'm recording something praising people or praising an artist. And I've also gotten a lot of comments and DMs from people, especially over my last video on Sewer Person being a little controversial. I want to make it clear that I am allowed to make videos about music that I don't enjoy, or even artists I don't enjoy, which I do enjoy Sewer Person, but I don't enjoy the music from his era. That doesn't mean that you aren't allowed to enjoy the music from that era. Music is subjective. There is no such thing as good or bad music. You can like and appreciate whatever you want regardless of what other people think about it. And that's what today's video is about. It's about the fact that no, your music taste isn't bad, and neither is mine. There's lots of artists that I don't like, but that doesn't mean that other people can't like them. In fact, Netspend is the entire reason I'm making this video. I hate Netspend's music. I find it terrible, irredeemable. I don't know how people can listen to it and think it's good. But that doesn't mean it's bad, because Netspend has thousands and thousands and thousands more people praising his music, going crazy at his shows than artists that I do enjoy, or even me. So, why? Well, first, let's look at why people hate certain artists. First of all, it's common for people to want to be different. If you look at the most hated artists, they're often also the most streamed artists, and people like to dislike what's popular. Let's take, for example, Taylor Swift. She has so many fans that go absolutely crazy. She is one of the biggest artists in the world, and it's not even close for most of her competition. But at the same time, she gets more hate than almost anybody I see on the internet, other than currently Drake, but I'll get into that later. But the reason why is because people don't like to like what's popular. They like to feel unique with their music taste, and when somebody is blowing up and it's personally not for them, they think that hating on it is better than just ignoring it, because they feel like it's offensive to who they are as a person, or it's offensive to their music taste for the artist that they like not to be recognized on the same level. Music is a very personal experience for people. And if music offends somebody, or somebody doesn't enjoy the music, they don't believe that other people should enjoy it. And the reason why is because it'd be the same thing as if somebody had a different political opinion to you. There's different variations of how much somebody can deal with somebody have differing opinions. Me, for example, none of my friends like the same music I do, and none of my friends really agree with the same politics as I do. But that's because they're personal experiences, they're personal thoughts. It doesn't make you worse or better to have different opinions on things. Same with music, same with your view on artists. So if you appreciate something and somebody else doesn't, that doesn't mean that what you like is bad. It just means that you disagree, and that maybe something that you don't like speaks differently to them. For example, once again, I'll take Taylor Swift. My sister, I think she's 13, she's obsessed with Taylor Swift. Loves everything she's done. I can name about 2 Taylor Swift songs that I like, and most of them are from, like, her old era. But another reason why artists are hated on a broader scale is because of controversy. Most people cannot separate art from artist. That's something I've noticed with Kanye, 6ix9ine, a lot of those people. I personally can easily separate art from artist. The only time that I can't separate art from artist is if there's somebody underground and I like know them. You know what I mean? That's when it's different. I can't listen to somebody who I know did something to someone I know. But when it's a wide scale thing like Kanye, which I'm not defending Kanye. What Kanye said and what Kanye's done and who he is as a person is not something I respect. But I love the music. I think Kanye's a great artist. I think he is probably top 5 for hip hop of all time because his impact is undeniable. And another artist that I really like is 6ix9ine, even though he's very controversial. I understand that 6ix9ine is not a good person. I will never defend 6ix9ine's actions, but I like the music, and that's fine. But not everybody can look at it that way, you know? There are a lot of people who used to listen to Kanye who won't listen to a single thing he's made anymore because of what he said and done, which once again is valid. But that's why certain artists are hated, is because of controversy unrelated to their music. Another thing that plagues the view on artistry is, mostly in hip-hop, artist beef. For example, Drake versus Kendrick Lamar. I personally think that Kendrick Lamar is a way better artist than Drake. But I like more of Drake's music than Kendrick's music. Kendrick's music isn't for me. Is Kendrick more talented, more skilled, better at being a rapper, writing, and all that? Yeah. But I find it boring most of the time. And that's fine. I would rather listen to Drake than Kendrick. But yes, Kendrick won the beef, and it's inarguable that he is a more creative artist, but I'm not gonna go bump Kendrick in the club, and I'll bump like half of Drake's catalog in the club. So I feel like the thing about rapper beef is that you pick who you want to win from the very start, and your mind probably isn't going to be changed. And the view is that there can only be one winner. And while yes, I do think that Kendrick won the beef, I don't think Drake's a bad artist because Kendrick won. I don't think what Kendrick puts out has any effect on the catalog that Drake has. I think when you butt heads artist to artist, that sometimes it gets mixed up in the thinking that one artist is better than the other, therefore the other is trash. I don't think that's the way it should be viewed. I think it should be, this artist is better than the other, but this other artist has its own qualities that I appreciate too. Another reason why people may dislike an artist is because of their fan bases. Their fan base might be viewed as cringe or annoying, and the main example I have is Swifties, Taylor Swift fans. It's just generalizing or stereotyping an entire group of people who enjoy something. And I really feel like that's unfair to the artists themselves, because many artists don't condone the actions that their fan bases take. 21 Pilots fans are also viewed as cringe, but I don't think Josh Dunn or Tyler Joseph are bad artists or in any form of the word cringe. They're just people making music that speaks to them. And maybe it doesn't speak to you, but it speaks to their fan base. And yes, sometimes their fan base can be annoying, but any fan base can be annoying. I think that, I fall into this, but Sewer Person's fan base can be annoying. Try having a conversation, me included, with a Sewer Person fan, and tell them that a different artist is better than Sewer Person. And even if Sewer Person isn't their favorite artist, they're still gonna argue with you. And I know, because I am that person. I really should have expected all the hate that I got on my last video from Sewer Person fans for critiquing some of his work negatively, even though I did give glowing reviews to about half of the projects that I covered in that video. I covered 7 projects, and I think at least 4 of them were over 5 out of 10, which 5 out of 10 is the average. I don't, this is a side rant, but I don't think a 5 out of 10 is bad. That means you're right in the middle. That's fine. Yeah, I gave 2 projects 4, and I shit on one, like, endlessly, but they aren't for me, and it's okay if it's for you. The next thing I want to cover is the term guilty pleasure, or talking about a guilty pleasure artist, an artist that most people don't like, that you feel like you have to specify, I feel guilty when I listen to them because most people don't like them. First of all, we all have guilty pleasure artists, I feel like. Nickelback is a very common one. I see more people say that Nickelback is a guilty pleasure band than people who say that they don't like Nickelback. I hear more people say that guiltily they enjoy the music more than people who say that Nickelback is bad. I see that 20 times more often. I'm gonna give you 3 of my personal guilty pleasure artists, people that I like that most people don't. I already mentioned earlier, I like 6ix9ine. I think 6ix9ine has some bangers. And I understand that he's controversial, but I like his music. I don't feel guilty for listening to it. I'll tell anybody I like his music. NF, I don't know why NF is considered a guilty pleasure artist. I get that he's kind of like, oh, a cringy white rapper, but I really don't think he's like that bad. I feel like dude, especially in terms of production, because the dude produces most of his own shit, is crazy with it. And then my last one is Joey Nato, or Joey Lucky Boy Nato. Dude is consistently putting out fire shit, especially on SoundCloud. If you just check his SoundCloud, bro is often putting out bangers. And yeah, it's not for everybody, but I personally enjoy it. And I just personally think that you shouldn't feel guilty for liking a guilty pleasure artist because the music means something to you. Anyways, now that I have the reasons why people are viewed as guilty pleasures and what it means to be a guilty pleasure, let me give you reasons why your music taste isn't bad. First of all, music is subjective. Even if people want to act like it's not, even if you use music theory to describe reasons why music is good or bad, it is subjective. It's art. And art is what it means to you more than what it actually is. And for example, the way that you can quantify the quality of music in terms of music theory is if the keys and BPM match the vocals, match the production, whatever. But I really don't think it's anything other than a guideline. Lil Peep, Hobo Johnson, Netspin, they often ignored key or BPM. Hobo Johnson and Peep mostly key, Netspin mostly BPM. But they're all massively successful. They're all massively enjoyed. I think that my corner of the music I listen to and like the scene that I'm in, we all think Peep is a legend. But if you go outside of our scene whatsoever, most people think that Lil Peep is trash. Which is fine. They're allowed to have that opinion. I think he's a legend. Whatever. But Lil Peep often did not sing in key. And that's something that you have to look at. Dude was not that great of a singer. He just had an interesting voice. And I don't think it's a bad thing at all. He's probably top 10 artist of all time for me. I love Peep. I love most of his music. I listen to every single leak that comes out. Like, I love Peep. But that's because most artists that are considered guilty pleasures are often groundbreaking. They often become the next big thing. And I have 3 examples here for 3 artists that went from guilty pleasures or cringe into massive successes that most people look up to as some of the greatest minds in music, specifically hip-hop, because that's the music I listen to, but of course there's other examples. I have Quadeca. He went from a YouTube rapper, which most people agree that he was the best YouTube rapper, into a successful experimental artist crossing many different genres, not just hip-hop. Quadeca is my favorite artist of all time. I liked him back when he was making YouTube rap because one of my guilty pleasures is I like YouTube rap. And I'll admit it. I don't like the overly political YouTube rap. I don't like Tom McDonald. I don't really like Dax. But like, I like Crypt. I like Quadeca, you know. I like that side of it. I like Moxus. But yeah, Quadeca went from just being a generic YouTube rapper into a groundbreaking artist that is now producing for Lil Nas X. We also have Yeet. Yeet was clowned by the mainstream for the last 2 years until he dropped 2093, and that's one of the best hip-hop albums of this year. And almost every single person that I saw hating on Yeet at least now says, I get it. They might not like him. My girlfriend was the biggest Yeet hater I knew, and I catch her vibing to Breathe all the time. She loves that song. So, I personally used to hate Yeet. I thought Yeet was like the worst ever. But ever since he released the feature for Drake on For All the Dogs, I've liked the music by Yeet that I used to not like. He's genuinely ahead of his time, in my opinion. Just like somebody else who is viewed as ahead of their time, Tyler, the Creator. Tyler, the Creator was one of the most controversial, cringe, shock value rappers to ever hit the scene, which he hates the term rapper. So I'll just stick with artist because I've seen him get so pissed off at people calling him a rapper. But he was ahead of his time. Look at what he's doing now. Ever since Igor, which I personally am not a fan of Igor. I don't like that as much as Goblin or as much as Wolf. But even not counting Igor, Call Me If You Got Lost is one of the better reviewed hip hop projects in the last long time. Tyler, the Creator, is a visionary, and he was very ahead of his time. Another reason is, as I mentioned before, music has meaning. View it as like visual art in a way. A piece of art may not mean anything to you, but it could mean the world to somebody else. And it's more than the quality of the piece objectively, it's about the way that it speaks to the consumer. When you listen to music, it's such a personal experience. You want to connect with it. And it kind of defines who you are in a way. Think about it this way. The music that you listen to is going to affect the mood you're in. When you're feeling down and you just want to sulk in it, you listen to sad music. It's the same way with listening to music you enjoy. When you listen to the artist that you like and you don't care what other people say about that artist, you feel more comfortable as a person because you're embracing who you are. And individuality is one of the most important things that we have as humans. One of the most important things we have as people. And music does everything to embrace that feeling, to embrace who you are, to project the individuality. Another thing is that music is ever changing. Music is not the same as it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. There was a time where Elvis Presley was considered controversial and going too far, and I don't even think he swore in his music. I'm not too familiar with his music, but now we have rappers saying the most vulgar shit, like Eric Reprid, for example. I hope I'm saying that name right. He says the most insane shit. Same with Dave Blunt, and people rock with that. If people were saying those kinds of things in music 40 years ago, they wouldn't have a career now. And another thing is, like, country was a completely different genre. Modern country is nothing like where it started. In fact, I would consider modern country what pop used to be. Modern country is basically a subgenre of pop now. It's not even country music anymore, in my opinion. It's just pop with a twang in the voice. Views on music culturally are going to change, and maybe the thing that you like right now that everybody else is hating on, people may start saying, that's where music's gonna go. But me defending your music taste being viewed as bad and saying that it's not bad does not mean that critics are not valid. But that also doesn't mean that critics are a be-all, end-all. There's no algorithm or guideline that defines good music. There's music that I consider bad that blows up all the time, and vice versa. Specifically, the Needle Drop, Anthony Fantano, I love him. I watch like almost every review of a project that I've listened to of his, or if I'm interested in a project but I don't know if I should listen to it, I take into account his takes because he's somebody that I respect in his opinions. At the same time, I disagree with half of his opinions. There's some reviews he's done of music that I really like that he's given really low scores, and it doesn't make me view him any differently. He's a critic the same way I am. You guys didn't like my opinion on those Sewer Person Colors EPs, but that's just my opinion. You're allowed to like them. And I'm allowed to like things you don't. I'm sure 90% of people do not have Brendan Savage's Tragedy as a 9 out of 10. Most people would not think that Tragedy by Brendan Savage is better than both Come Over When You're Sobers by Lil Peep, but I do. And that doesn't make me any less valid or you any less valid. You're allowed to appreciate the art that you appreciate. Anyways, to conclude it, I want to know who your favorite guilty pleasure artist is and why. An artist that no matter who you talk to, they all seem to hate that artist, but to you, they mean something so much more. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. It'll probably be a review of an album, and hopefully it leans positive, but no guarantees.